Right, so let's talk about the PAT, the IEB PAT for 2023. And we're looking now specifically at phase 1. So you can see I'm in the task guidelines file. And we're going to go through to look for what they want from you for phase 1. Now, they mention here the task definition and information finding strategies. It's worth 40 marks, and you're looking at just over 20% of your total PAT mark. As I scroll down, let's see. Okay, we've looked at the topics. Remember now, they've given you these topics. You can use them, or you can choose not to use them. Whatever you do use, please check with your teacher that you are not using a topic that's been used within the past 2 years. Okay, so that's that. Right, let's go on to phase 1 now. In phase 1, they want you to do a few things. The first of which is provide a task description, formulate a main question, create a table where you are asking questions. These questions have to be categorized. You need to look at sources. In other words, this is the table, more or less the table that you should be using. And then they wanted a screenshot of your spell check as well. So I do have a few samples. If we look at this document, here you can see the structure of what your phase 1 should be about. Now, you can have a cover page or not. It's not really going to give you more marks, but at the end, you'll need a cover page anyway. So you can do it now. It's fine. Or you can choose not to. The main things you can see is a task description, the main question, your table of questions, and then your spell check. These are the 4 main headings you need to have, and then you're going to be popping in your information under that. So this is the structure you need for phase 1. Okay. Now, if I look at, let me just go with a particular learner's PAT, the phase 1, you'll see how this has been put in play. So when we look at the task description, you need to describe what your task is all about. The other learner is saying, I need to plan a girls' spa trip. So what is this whole thing about? A spa trip, right? Girls going to the spa. You need to then, she's obviously going to describe now what it is she's looking at. Well, you need to decide the age of the group that she's going to invite, where it will be held, keeping in mind where the girls are coming from. Are there flights needed? Transport, accommodation, what they are going to eat, meal preferences, all those things. So your task description is describing, for me, for example, as your teacher, what your PAT is all about. What is your topic about? Yeah, she's mentioned in the first sentence, she's going to be planning a girls' spa trip. Now that goes to the main question as well. You want to plan a girls' spa trip. Obviously, you need to look at all these different things. When it comes to the main question, we need to look at, well, what is this whole thing about? What is it that you want to get out of this? What is the focus of this whole thing? I know in the DBE PAT, they call it the focus question. And here she's saying, what do I need to do in order to make the spa getaway trip a success and ensure my guests enjoy their time together? So the focus of this, yes, she'd like to plan a girls' spa trip, but the focus of that would then be, well, what do I need to do in order to make it a success? Okay, and obviously looking at all these different things that are mentioned in the task description, that's where you are going to be answering that question. So first things first, please don't forget your folder structure. You need a folder called PAT 2023, obviously with your name and surname. Then from there, inside that, you need folders for phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And in the phase 1 folder, this document is going to be there. So you need a task description describing what your task is all about, how you're going to go about getting information, what information you need to get as well, and obviously who it's for, and then the focus of your whole task. And then from there, you can actually see, if you go to the description, we needed to look at what? Accommodation, venue. We need to look at, meal preferences, what people are going to be eating, etc. We then get to our questions here, and you need to have a table that's going to be looking at the category of question, the question itself, the question category, in other words, what type of question is it, whether it is an open or closed-ended question, where you're going to be getting the answer to that question, and if it is the internet, then what sort of keywords did you use when you were looking for info in Google. So here you can see there's the category of venue, accommodation, guests, and transport. Now you'll see that some of them are closed, which means it has a definitive answer, so yes or no. Open-ended means, there's a bit of an opinion. So just know the difference between those two. Then also with your type of question, is it an investigative question, a factual question, a comparative? You need to look at all those things. And you can see then the questions are grouped according to the category. So all these questions have to do with the venue. These questions have to do with accommodation. These questions have to specifically deal with the guests. These ones are dealing specifically with transport. Now, from what I remember, you need to have 20 questions in total. Okay, so phase 1, we've got a task description, a main question, focus question, key objective, whatever you want to call it. You've then got your table of questions, and please, you'll see there's really only keywords when we use the internet. If it's your own decision, if it's a server, you're not going to be putting that in. Make sure there are 20 questions, and then at the bottom you just need a screenshot of the spell check. And guys, that's really it for phase 1, right? You can see here, even with the submission of evidence, the description, main question, a variety of questions, categorized, according to this, your reference list. If you checked out something, any references you needed to reference, and then run a spell check. So when I look at the next document, the assessment tools, this is where I'll find the rubric. And here for phase 1, if I have a proper task description or task definition, I'm going to get my 5 marks. My main question gives me 2 marks. If I have 20 questions of different types and categories, and the types and categories are correctly identified, then I get my 10 marks. Otherwise, the marks tend to sort of go down as we go along. The questions are grouped in a table. They are arranged in a table only, right? So which one of those? Guys, if we group our things and arrange it, we're going to get 2 marks. Are the questions relevant to the topic? If they are, you'll get your 4 marks. Then, do you have a variety of sources? In other words, when you went to go into this, let's just go back here. Our methods and sources. Do you have, I think it's more than 3. Yeah, 3 or more types of sources are indicated. So 3 or more sources. In other words, you didn't just go to the internet. Maybe in here you can see the question, what if the venue is fully booked and you're looking at emailing someone? This one has to do with a survey, their own decision, the internet. Do we have more than 3 sources? Yes, we do. Right? The criteria as to how the information will be accessed, gathered, or recorded. Have you put keywords in there? Have you said whether you're going to be using a questionnaire, any of these things? That's where you get your other marks from. Is everything accurate? No spelling and grammatical errors. In other words, that's spell check. 3 marks. And then have you handed it in on time? And that's how we get our 40 marks for phase 1. And that is phase 1 done.